Going to be making next is we are going to make the fireplace from the wedding scene in Beetlejuice. So the very mutated, very angular fireplace that Beetlejuice creates towards the end of the movie so he and Winona Ryder can get married at. So that's what we're making. In order to do that, we're going to cut out styrofoam. We've got some really weird angles that we have to deal with, but what we have kind of decided working this out is that we're going to just cut it as a straight cut. Try and get both pieces that we need just as a straight cut, and then we're going to do the angling afterwards as opposed to trying to map out that angling and cut it originally, because it was just going to be, I think, too difficult to do the math, honestly.
And it doesn't have to be precise because it's an abstract shape, and it's...
Yeah, so we kind of got it graphed out a little bit as to what it is that we want to do. So now we're basically just going to blue tape it, I think, and figure out the cuts we want to make, and then we'll do that.
Not even going to use blue tape, just Sharpie.
So we've got a lot of cutting to do, and we're obviously not going to sit here and make you watch us do math for the next hour. So we're going to go ahead and do... we can do
math is fun.
Yeah, we can do algebra. That would be at least 10 hours worth of math. So we're going to do all our cutting, and then we're going to come back and we're going to show you how we're going to put this all together. So while we were putting this together, we decided that it was a little too tall for what it was going to be. We went and actually brought it inside and put it next to the stand-ups or mannequins that it's going to be next to, and kind of decided it was a little too tall and a little too wide. So we ended up shortening it by about a foot on the top, and then we decided on a different route for construction. So what we've decided we're going to do, originally it was just going to be a one-dimensional piece with the side pieces as well. With the back open, but what we've decided is that instead of cutting these pieces in the shape of the fireplace, since it's kind of a weird angle, that we are going to leave these wide to give the styrofoam piece a little bit more support, because it's going to be on a roof where there's wind and other issues. So we're going to leave these wide, and instead of cutting, we're going to build on top of this frame,
so somewhat like
our
this
fireplace pieces
with those angles. This will be a little bit wider to fill all the way in, but it'll have that funky angle that the fireplace is known for. But we did look up some reference photos, and if you look at the actual photos, the one side, it actually is square, with this being a dimensional piece. So this is truer to the actual set pieces.
Yes, so basically what we've decided to do is we're going to build it on top, and then we're going to leave this piece as the bricks that this gets distorted into. So we're going to paint this part out as the brick, and then we're going to build this up as the actual fireplace and paint this out. And that'll give us a little bit of a dimension. It'll give this a little bit more support, a little bit more strength for being on the roof. And then we're going to take our middle piece of the fireplace, and we're going to just also build that probably 3 high on this middle section, because it kind of sticks out a little more and comes down a little.
And this is 1.5 inch foam that we're using.
Yeah,
so you can use whatever you come by, but the normal insulation foam, the cheaper stuff, the white stuff, not the blue or the pink, because that's great, but if you're going cheap, it's expensive.
Yeah, and that's, like I said, we're trying to do this as cheaply as we possibly can. And then to cut the styrofoam, we're just using a really cheap, these were, I think this was like $13 on Amazon. It's just a styrofoam cutter. It's a hot wire.
Hot knife.
Yeah. So the one that I got comes with different attachments. So you have the short hot wire, you have a longer one that it comes with, and then it comes with the one that has the wire.
It's like a bow or a loop.
Yeah, it looks like. And these make it super, super simple to cut styrofoam. He also brought some saws with him, some styrofoam cutting saws. It's been my experience that when you use those kind of saws, especially with the cheaper styrofoam, they have a tendency to pill and shred a little bit on the ends. When you use the hot one, it's just a nice, clean cut. And then what we do for these is we put down a ruler. He has a metal ruler. We put down the ruler first, and then we basically hold this along the ruler so that we get a nice clean edge. because if you try and do it freehand like I have done in the past, it looks like a drunk ferret did it. So you really don't want to. You don't want to do that. You end up with little wiggly lines everywhere. So
yeah, if you're trying to glue stuff back together and have nice straight edges. We are outside. It is pretty breezy today. This stuff, if you don't know, most people do, when you burn this kind of foam or any kind of foam, it gives off noxious fumes. So here's our disclaimer. Don't do this in your house in a closed environment. You can get very sick from it. Make sure you do it outside. You still might want to wear a respirator if you're very sensitive to this. I've been doing this for years, so I can still smell it. It's not the best, but like I said, we're outside, so the fumes kind of go away. But if you're going to do it a lot, like all day long and really small and up close pieces, make sure you put a respirator on.
So it would have been the perfect point for you to go.
Yeah, and then cough up a chunk of foam. Yeah, that'd be great.
It's like it's the black lung.
Yes.
The black lung.
Yes.
Okay, so anyways, those are some good tips. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we have our fireplace. We're going to start carving out the fireplace. We kind of changed our design a little from the original idea of what we were going to do. We decided to keep these outside panels for now. We're going to go ahead and brick them out and see if we like them. If we don't, we're going to take them off. We're going to carve these sections here. We're going to put a beveled edge on them.
So on the outside edge.
Yeah, the actual fireplace that we're making has these grooves up the front, kind of decorative grooves. So we're going to put those in. This inside area we're going to brick out. We're just going to carve it and then paint it to look like bricks, like broken bricks. And then we have some extras that we can add on the back to kind of give it another dimension. Then we're going to be carving out or beveling out the centerpiece as well, cutting off the top. We kind of, like I said, changed it a little. We've made it a little shorter, a little bit more narrow.
And there's no returns back anymore. We took the returns off just for safety so it doesn't catch wind up on the roof. Because
where we're putting it is, up on a roof, and so the wind gets really bad sometimes during the season. So we're worried about it becoming a sail. This now is 3 layers thick on the sides, 4 layers thick here. The way we've decided that we're going to attach it to the PVC on the roof is by carving holes and kind of braiding it over the PVC pipe. So the extra thickness is going to give it a little bit more stability. It also gives us a little bit more carving room to make some interesting angles. So we're just going to use our tools that we talked about earlier. And when we're done with that, we'll paint it, and that'll be pretty much it.
Yeah, just putting it on the roof, but that's an assembly. Maybe we'll do a little insert to show what it looks like from the back side so you can see how the PVC pipe is. But everybody's assembly and positioning wherever you're going to position it is going to be different based on where you're putting it. So
we're not going to paint it on camera because everybody knows how to paint, I hope, at this point. So we're just going to do some carving, see how the carving goes, and then that's it. And then we'll show you the finished project in a couple of weeks when we put it up on our roof. After we finished, we decided a better way to mount the fireplace was to use some wooden benches that we had gotten really cheap from a prop house. What we did is we filled the benches with weights, then we used 8-inch screws and a washer to attach the fireplace to the benches on both sides. This made it extremely sturdy and has allowed us to keep it on the roof throughout Halloween, Thanksgiving, and now we're even going to use it for our Christmas Nightmare Before Christmas themed decorations. Be sure and like, subscribe, and share, and then look for our life-size Jack Skellington and our Zero doghouse build coming up next.